It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. It is that time again, time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. We'll be checking with Blake coming up here in just a second. In the meantime, I want to let you know how you can get in touch with Blake Sloan. It's real easy. Here's the contact information. Write it down. Put it in your phone. Write it on your friend's forehead. Whatever you need to do. It's 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD, or you can go to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. If you didn't get it just then, don't worry, we'll repeat it several times over the next 30 minutes. Important contact information. Now for just important information, period. Here he is, Blake Sloan.
Yes, sir. Got an awesome new show. Got some interesting numbers, right? We're seeing the numbers from that bounce back, so to speak, from the hurricane issues that we had. We have Dave back. Dave's back. Yeah, man, glad you're back. But the reality is we'll cover the micro market. We had tried to have that last week. Just didn't have time to get to it, but we'll talk about what's happening in your specific zip code, your neighborhood. Numbers are all over the board. The great news is, though, is we're seeing some great recovery, aka bounce back in regards to numbers. And so we'll go through the overall market recap for anyone that missed last week's show, and then I'll really dig into what each part of the Grand Strand is seeing, and you'll see different disparities, different numbers. A lot of areas in double-digit growth in sales last month, which is great because you had some areas that were down, remember, like 49% due to that hurricane, and that was just because people literally could not close and they couldn't come in town. And so we'll kind of see that it's going to really make for an interesting finish of the year for sure. And so that's what we'll talk about too, is why December is one of the most valuable opportunities for home sellers, and really kind of dig into why this one's much different than any other December we've seen in a very long time. And it's something that historically December volume wise is one of the biggest months for us as a company. Higher sales prices, a little bit less transactions, but you're seeing a lot more volume, and that's people relocating by the end of the year, high deals, people for tax purposes, things like that. And so we'll talk about what that means for anyone out there as well. We have some awesome new success stories. Our team has been crushing it. Just one of our buyers agents on our team, he booked 5 buyer appointments from buyers that were in town just on Black Friday, which is pretty cool. You know, a while back there, was a week or two ago, in that regard. And so also we're ramping up our growth for 2019 now. Like I said before, I'm not pulling my foot off the pedal, and so we're looking to add a couple members to our team, and I'll talk about a really cool 60-day acceleration challenge that we're launching the first of the year as well.
Sounds good. A lot of great stuff to get to over the next 30 minutes. And, you know, if you're tuning in for the very first time, you don't know who Blake Sloan is, very simply, he's been called the Real Estate Whiz Kid. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, also Realtor magazine, other national publications, TV, sure, NBC. You've seen him on the morning show with Fox and Friends. You've seen him on the endorsements. You've heard them from Sean Hannity, Glenn Beck. You've also heard them from Barbara Corcoran, Gary LeVox, a lot of big names, all endorsing our own boy here, Blake Sloan. Now, put those all together, it's just unprecedented as far as this market is concerned. Also, Blake has some trademark systems to help both sellers and buyers, and they're used by people all around the country. But here in the Myrtle Beach area, they're used by one person. That's Blake Sloan.
Absolutely.
So if you want to know what it's all about, you've got to have Blake help you out. And the thing is that, you know, there's one big important thing. There's one important part as far as his trademark systems are concerned. He won't tell anybody else, but he'll tell you right here. What is it?
Yes, we keep this just like my life's work, so to speak. And again, like I mentioned before, this is really what you know, I'm very passionate about. One of the biggest reasons that we do this show, because it comes down to, you see a lot of horror stories in this business, a lot of problems. And the reality is you're dealing with people's largest assets. And so you're seeing them, you know, handled by a lot of times people who are not have a plan in place. They have zero way to execute what they're doing. And so it comes down to, why do we see those failures, right? And the single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a seller in today's market comes down to one thing only, and that's the agent you choose, right? Guess what? The failure or success in buying comes down to one thing only. The same variable, which is also the agent that you choose, because the reality is when you're selling a house, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one of those is handled correctly, guess what? That puts money in your pocket, your hard equity, and the property gets sold, usually faster and usually for more money. If any of those balls are dropped, right, aka the marketing's not done correctly. It does not look right online. The agent doesn't answer the buyer inquiries. All these things can get dropped in that process, will ultimately cost you money and or your home sale. And that's something to think about. So what did I do? What makes that different is we identified every single one of those variable points, and we created a system that's proven and repeatable. The whole thought process is, how do we make this happen the same way every single time, just like a real business does, right? Not a single agent out there. And the problem with single agents and kind of the old school model that our industry is that you have one agent that's trying to juggle all the balls. So for example, they work with buyers when they come in, right? They're trying to ride them around, show them houses. That takes 30, 40 hours a week in itself. They're also trying to get listings, meet with people. So that's why you see what most of them do is they get your listing, they put it into the MLS, they pray someone's going to bring a buyer, and guess what they do? They spend all their time hunting down the next listing instead of servicing what they got. And so the reality is there's a lot of balls that get dropped. And so we wanted to create a system that basically is proven to people that way. It's called the Guaranteed Sold System. It works very, very well. It's been proven here and in other areas across the country, like Dave mentioned. It's the only proven system to sell your home twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And that's line by line, exactly trackable in that aspect. And so it works very, very well. And that's how our properties sell much faster and for more money, right? You're able to drive more traffic, make sure you control the controllables that we call it. And it helps us big time. For buyers out there, we have the same exact type of program. It's called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Gives you priority access to the absolute best deals, foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, investment properties, right? Also, the absolute best negotiation when you're purchasing, aka price, and also in the home inspection, which is once it's under contract. But ultimately, it guides you all the way through with actual expertise, not someone who's just kind of riding by the seat of their pants. And so both of those, exactly what they do is they give our client a huge, huge competitive advantage. And part of me doing this show is really kind of for calls, which is like, hey, we're out here helping people not go through those horror stories. And don't be the one that does that. Reach out to us, learn about it, because it can really help you have a huge advantage when you're buying a property. You're not just buying like a Best Buy TV. Like I said, you're buying something that for most people is one of the largest assets, and you want to have someone who's an expert on your side that really advocates for you in that process.
Yeah, you got to. You got to have the expertise. You're absolutely right. All right. Well, we're just getting started. We got a lot of great information to get to, though. So, along with Blake Sloan. Coming up in a minute, find out what the interest rates are looking like for the week, and also your real estate update. What's new as we head into December? That and more is coming up in just a second. If you'd like to get in touch with Blake, you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. 843-808-SOLD. It's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Hey, it's your friend Sean Hannity. Now, you own property in Myrtle Beach. The national marketing plan of the realtor that you choose is absolutely critical. And that's exactly why you need to talk to Blake Sloan at Sloan Realty Group. Now, Blake has a marketing system on a whole different level than anyone else in Myrtle Beach. That's so effective at capturing local buyers from around the world that he can guarantee to sell your home at a price and a deadline that you agree to, or Blake's going to buy it. While most agents rely on yard signs and open houses that attract the occasional buyer, Blake attracts hundreds of buyers each month, which creates demand and helps your property sell fast and for top dollar. Now, that's why, on average, Blake sells a property every single day of the year and is ranked among the top 100 agents in the entire U.S. by the Wall Street Journal. Now, working with Blake is risk-free. If you're not happy, Blake gives you the freedom to cancel your contract and pay nothing. So give Blake a call today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or just go online and see Blake's interview on NBC at blakesguarantee.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Myrtle Beach, I would hire Blake Sloan. His international marketing creates so much demand that if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, Blake will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
The Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Got some great important numbers for you. Hopefully they're not big important numbers, but the interest rates, mortgage rates coming up in just a second. Let's find out, though, speaking of numbers, what things are looking like as far as the market update is concerned. You got anything new to tell us, Blake?
Yes, sir. So we'll recap kind of what happened for last month's numbers. Obviously, in October, we don't quite have the November numbers out yet. We'll have them next week's show. But they're obviously they're about the 10th of the month we get those where they're fully accurate there. But looking at the numbers from last month, we saw a huge bounce back, so to speak, from where we were. We're still seeing that now. We're still seeing people come in town. We have one of the busiest Novembers in a very, very, very long time in regards to buyer traffic coming in town. So right now, just kind of looking at these numbers here, for resale homes, right, which is single family homes, basically that are resales. The sales last month were up 21% versus the same month last year. So huge jump. If you look, for example, there are 545 resale homes total. If you look back into September, there are 298, and that's also because people couldn't close the hurricane issue. And so part of that are numbers that were pushed into the October month that obviously should have closed the previous month there. So we'll keep watching what we see here as well. Obviously, we're going to take a hit in some marks and some numbers here in November. Interesting to see kind of what those final numbers tally up to. But overall, huge jump here, and we're seeing recovery well. My entire team, we gauge this every single week in our weekly meeting. What's been the feedback from buyers post-hurricane? And everybody almost has pretty much forgotten about it. That is from out of town, right? Obviously, it's an issue here. It's a very unfortunate issue here. And the reality is we were concerned that there may be some buyers who were deterred because of that. And thankfully, it has not been, which is great news for us here overall in that regard. And so looking also into like sales price, which what everyone cares about, almost identically flat. And so median price stayed right at $215,000, which is good news there, right? There's no decline there. There has been some declines in other parts of the country. And like we talked about in the past, we probably will see some softening due to what everyone else in the country is seeing right now, compared to us. Months of supply stayed exactly flat too for resale homes, 5.5 months inventory. So we're kind of seeing that, scraping the top a little bit, so to speak. We're kind of scraping the ceiling, and hopefully we'll kind of stay flat. As you can see, the huge increases we've seen have pretty much just leveled off, so to speak, in that regard. And so that's something that's interesting to see as well. New construction sales up last month, huge jump. New construction up 58.3%. Again, a lot of properties that could not close that were able to close were pushed back. Sales price up 12.7% last month for new construction, which is great, $268,952. And so that's just something to kind of look at there. Inventory was actually up, so there was a little bit more inventory last month where they've been building like crazy, and obviously now it's kind of seeing that level off. And so 5.4 months inventory for those into condos, which is something obviously we see kind of all over the place. Condos actually increased 18.6% last month. And so you're seeing both new construction, resale homes, and also condos are obviously, kind of jumping up in regards to sales aspect on that. If you combine new construction and resale, both of those together for condos, up about 5%. And so that's something to look at too. Sales price is up 7.1% last month overall for condos at 134 even. So great news there with that, for everyone in that regard. The one thing I want to get to real quick, I'll fly through a couple of key pieces because this is what everyone always asks about. Everyone wants to know, hey, what's my area doing, right?
Of course.
What's my zip code doing or whatever, my neighborhood. And so it's so important as a real estate expert for anyone that they look at the micro market. When you're looking at what you're going to sell your house for, you don't just look at what's the overall Grand Strand market doing. You want to see what's my specific area doing because the pockets really matter. Everyone kind of skips over this. A lot of, novice agents or people who don't really not advise their client will just look at the market's up. Well, you really want to look at that data that's really specific to you in the micro market there. So we'll cover that really quick and kind of what they are. I'll hit Myrtle Beach first so you kind of see. Myrtle Beach last month, resale homes up 24.7%, which is awesome news there as well. Year to date, Myrtle Beach is up 12.2%. Prices last month in the Myrtle Beach area, which is zip codes 29577 and 29572. I'll always use that as like the gauge. That's kind of like the most that it kind of really gives us the feel for the overall market. Median price, like I said, up 12.5% last month. Median price, $350,000. Also, year-to-date price is up 6.3%. Myrtle Beach at $319,000, which is great. Interesting number here. So the days on market in Myrtle Beach actually jumped up significantly. Part of that had to do with it jumped up 42%. So they went from about 120 days on market to 171. And so that's something to be concerned about as an agent or home seller, right? That you're seeing a little bit of softening in that regards. Part of that is because prices gotten higher. Part of that is obviously less buyers in the marketplace in that regard. The inventory was down, which is great, down 5.8% in Myrtle Beach. If you look at condos in Myrtle Beach, closed sales up 1.4% last month alone. And the year to date, they're actually almost flat, it's down 0.9%. So you're seeing the condo market ease off a little bit easier at first. And we saw this before when the market softened. Guess which ones were the ones that softened first? condos, right?
Mm.
The reason is because that's usually a second home. It's discretionary spending versus a lot of times being their primary residence. And so obviously I always talk about all the time, I'm a huge nerd for numbers. I'm in this stuff all day long. I'm making sure our team is in this stuff all day long because I can really use that to our advantage to our clients and help them make much better decisions when you have better data. And more importantly, you can understand the data, right? And so that's a key number to kind of look at there as well. Median sales price last month for condos up 14.5%, which is awesome. 134,500 is median price. Year to date, price is up 0.5%. So for the entire year of 2017, condo median price is 120,000. Right now it's 120,550. So just a little bit up there, but guess what you're seeing? Prices level off. If you look back at 2016, early 2017, you're seeing more significant gains. And so as a home seller, right, we always want to kind of sell at that top there, depending on what you're doing, or obviously make sure you take advantage of that part of the swing. And so that's something that inventory is down all over Myrtle Beach there as well. North Myrtle Beach, huge sales increased like crazy last month, up 75%. That's part of that's obviously ones that didn't close. It's a smaller numbers there. So it went from 32 to 56. So you can see that year-to-date sales in North Myrtle Beach are up 5.3%. Interesting number. Prices last month were down. They were down 3.6%. Median price 307,500. The prices year to date are exactly flat in North Myrtle Beach. So in 2017, 300,000. Guess what? Right now, 300,000. And so you're seeing that growth. My pattern, what I noticed when I was going through these earlier, is you're seeing the price increase level off. And so that's just something to kind of watch for and understand as a home seller. If you want to sell towards the top, guess what? You're getting close to now, the top, right? So that's something interesting there to see. Here's other alarming number. Days on market in North Myrtle Beach last month up 58.4%. So which is more. It went from 116 to 183. Now that's scary for a home seller. I like that just to being real with everyone. I told my whole team about this. I like it better when the market is softer. Why? Because you actually got to be good, right? The reality is when the market's super hot, you got every single person in the world, getting into.
That makes sense.
I mean, it's crazy, right? You got everybody's sister and brother and uncle getting into it, and they can actually get it sold sometimes, but that doesn't really matter. They don't really know sometimes they have $10,000 or $15,000 on the table. Now, this is what separates the good from the average, right? What's what the average from the great. And this is kind of what I live for in a way to say, how do we really differentiate? Because all the things that we do make a massive difference. And so if you're thinking about selling in this process, you better really take to heart who you use matters. I've got a friend of a friend of a friend who's part-time in real estate. Now is not the time to mess around with that type person, right? Now is not the time to mess around with that person who's just going to do an open house and pray that someone sells it. You need aggressiveness who can actually drive traffic with buyers from across the country in that regard. And so condos in Myrtle Beach, they're actually where sales were down 15% last month. And that's interesting. Year to date, they're down 0.3%. Prices last month up 3.7% in North Myrtle Beach. And so interesting number there. Closed sales in Surfside last month up 31.4%. But for year to date, sales are down 7.6% in Surfside. So back to that pattern, we're seeing a lot of areas soften. And now is when you want to get really, really good at what you're looking at, right? How am I in Surfside comparing North Myrtle Beach and everything else? But you also want to take advantage of this. You don't want to wait 2 or 3 or 4 months later. One of the big mistakes I've heard lately is I want to wait till the spring. Well, guess what? What if the market's much softer in the spring than it is now? You're going to be up against obviously a disadvantage from where you're at now, and you're going to ultimately put less money in your pocket if that's what indeed happens with rates continuing to climb long term in that regard. So that's something to look at too. Surfside condos priced down 9.5% last month as well. And so interesting number to kind of look at there. Soxty sales up 22.6% last month. They're up 7.1% year to date. That area has consistently been hot because a lot of people moving out more inland into Soxty, which is great news as well. Median price up 6.9% last month at 196,500. Year to date up 8.1% at 195. Last couple of months here, Carolina Forest 54.5% increase in sales last month, went from 55 to 85. If you divide that out between what should have closed in that previous month, you're obviously seeing a little bit of an increase, but be aware of that number. That's not the true number in my opinion. Median sale price up 13.5% last month, 291,704, which is awesome. And year to date, prices up 7.8% in Carolina Forest. That's probably one of the best performing micro markets in the area. If you're in Carolina Forest, you want to take advantage of that. Everyone knows the growth that's happened there and kind of what's going on in that aspect. And so that's huge to kind of look at as well. Conway, sales up 29% last month. Prices were flat last month. They're up 6.3%. year to date. Loris price up 14.5% last month, up 10.9% year to date, and Aner is pretty much flat as well. So bottom line, lost last one here, Hawley's Island, right? Sales last month up 24.2%. Year to date, though, guess what? Sales are down. So you're seeing this happen very rapidly, in my opinion, the past couple of months here, where the first quarter, second quarter is very, very strong. Third and fourth have lightened up tremendously, and so you're going to see that. Why it's much more important to look at the monthly real time numbers as well. And so, if anyone has any question about that, reach out to us at our office. More than happy to help advise you, give you free information. You can always get your home value online at our site at blakesloan.com. But the number one thing to look at is what's going to drive this going in 2019. Interest rates are going to be rising, right, as everyone knows. The market is softening in other parts of the country, Dallas, California, all these. And so we want to be prepared for that as a home seller. Make sure you're with the right people who can help you. And obviously, you want to make sure that you sell at the top if you're thinking about selling, right? And so this year is going to be a little different. We'll talk about in a second. Don't wait necessarily to the spring because the market conditions could be worse, right? It's not just seasonally you have to worry about right now. One thing to look at, what's kind of good news, is our rates dropped significantly this week, which is great news kind of overall as well. Last week's show was 4.96%. Right now it's 4.84%. And so we had a pretty big drop there. That was driven by an ongoing reaction from the basically Federal Reserve Chairman Powell, which kind of, I guess, signaled they would ease up on rising rates, right? And so that's something that's interesting to look at. So if you're buying and you're thinking about locking your rate, you definitely want to do that now because obviously that saves you money in the long term. So a 15-year fixed rate right now, 4.35%. A 30-year FHA loan, 4.37%. A jumbo loan is 4.52%, and a 5-year adjust rate mortgage, 4.75%. And so that's pretty sweet right there. Looking, back down kind of where we're at there. But that's one thing to look at as well. Everyone in the world is predicting Q1 of next year going to be above 5.1, 5.2%. Easily. We've already cracked that 5-year 5% mark this year. So interesting to look at. We'll talk about in a second. People are still moving, and so you definitely want to take advantage of that. We'll come back to that in a second, I guess.
All right, sounds good. There's a lot of great stuff coming your way in just a minute. We'll have some hot buyers alert. Also, we will look at some great success stories. Some of the things that Blake Sloan has been able to do for some of the people who are working with him. That's all coming your way in just a second. Get in touch with Blake Sloan. Find out more about the information you just got done hearing about. Call 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. Or go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com. You want your home sold on time and for the most money without all sorts of excuses? Hi, it's Glenn Beck, and when I had to sell my home, I went through several agents who all had good ideas, but the bottom line is they couldn't get the job done.
We're close, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna have about 4.5 minutes or so.
Let's hit that hot buyers and success stories.
Okay.
Realty Group.
That works for me. That sounds native.
That reaches buyers from around the U.S. and around the world, and week after week, he attracts hundreds of buyers, and that creates incredible demand. And that's why he can guarantee to sell your home at a price and a deadline that you agree to, or he's going to buy it. Plus, you don't really risk anything when you list with Blake, since if he doesn't live up to the contract, you walk away free and clear. It's really no wonder why Sean Hannity and I, along with real estate tycoon and Shark Tank star Barbara Corcoran, endorse Blake. Call Blake Sloan right now, 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or visit Blake's website. That's blakesguarantee.com. blakesguarantee.com. Or listen to Blake's Real Estate Show every Saturday morning at 9 or Sunday morning at 11:30 right here on WRNN. It is the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Call Blake at his office at 843-808-SOLD or go online to blakesloan.com. Time right now for your hot buyers alert. Blake and his team working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers, and they're all looking for homes in the Myrtle Beach area in a big range, anywhere between $150,000 to $3.5 million. If you're in that range and even thinking of selling, call Blake at that same number, 843-808-SOLD, because he needs inventory. Why? There's so many active home buyers in the area, not just the area, but the entire world, that are looking to buy here in the Myrtle Beach market, and they need homes. The latest numbers that we've seen as far as people who are on Blake's website, not just people checking in once, not just hits on the website, but people who are actively looking for homes several times a day, over 50,000. Actual number is 50,623, in case you're keeping track. Blake, that's a ton of people.
Massive amounts of people from all over, which is so crazy. We're able to kind of track them on our IP address, like based on, so we know what state they're in. We're getting them from all over the country in that regard. Like Dave mentioned, these are real people. Username, password. That's one thing that blows anyone away when we sit down with them. Here's what's going to happen. A lot of agents, they sit down, what they do, they just talk, and promise you the world. We don't really talk a lot. We just show you. We say, hey, look, here's the deal. We have over 50,000 active buyers. Here's the houses you're looking at in real time if you want to look at them. And right now, Karen Backco, she's on the site from Herndon, Virginia. She's been on here 17 times already. We got Clarence Hawks out here, right here, Myrtle's Inlet on the site. Lindsay and Stephen Graham from Myrtle Beach. Bruce Baker from Troy, New York. We got Sumter, South Carolina, Riverside, California. So the reality is, guess what? We have literally a national and even a global reach. And so that's where we're dialed into. Guess where most of the money is coming from in this buying in Myrtle Beach?
Northeast.
Northeast. Guess what? We're target very, very heavily. Northeast. Guess what? I used to get made fun of when I first got in the business for being the internet kid that was doing this, targeting people in the Northeast. Everybody think I was crazy, right? I was always the internet kind of kid, and they're all, old school doing stuff. And so the reality was we set ourselves apart very, very early by doing so. And so the reality is, like Dave said, if you're thinking about selling, if you had on the market before, did not get it sold, now's the time to take advantage. Call me. Don't wait till the first. Don't be behind the 8 ball. Don't wait till 3 of your neighbors try to go sell the first of the year. Call me now. 843-808 sold. No, we're short on time, right?
Yeah, about 2 minutes plus.
Okay. First, I want to get to some success stories. I'm very proud of these because our team absolutely crushed it through the last holiday, right? Even through this period when, guess what most agents are doing? We had a big conference call with myself and some other agents across the country. Guess what the masters are doing right now? Taking their foot off the pedal. We call it holiday brain, right? Every agent, they're just kind of playing la la land with holiday brain, so we call it, just kind of taking the rest of the year off. What we're doing, we're doubling down, right? We're double the intensity. We're obviously pushing hard for either finishing the year and also stacking the deck for January. But super cool story here. Shannon, she was listed with the average agent with a different company for over 6 months, had zero success in getting her Little River condo sold. She was super frustrated because she'd already found another home that she wanted to buy, but she needed to sell her condo for top dollar, right? So anyways, the coolest part about it, she heard about us from one of her friends who sold her home through Sloan Realty Group. Referred her to us. We came in. We immediately identified the problem, which was obviously marketing, and launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, drove massive traffic. In 2 weeks on the market, had an all-cash offer at nearly asking price. And so the cool part, Shana was able to buy her other home that she wanted, get out of a condo into a home without having 2 mortgages. So super thankful for her and that referral. Another cool one, John and Kim, they had their luxury Myrtle Beach home on the market over 200 days without any offers, any action, right? Basically, the agent took it, put it to MLS, and spent all their time hunting down the next listing. That's what you see with all the old school top producers. A lot of times they look like they sell a lot, but all they do is get a lot of listings, right? And so it wasn't selling. Here's the coolest thing. They were referred to us by an amazing radio listener, right? Who heard about our marketing. We came in, launched global marketing blitz, professional photos, drove massive traffic, had under contract in less than a month at almost full asking price. And so if you know someone thinking about selling, don't have them go through the horror story first, right? Reach out and have them call me at 843-808 sold, because we are still crushing it. And the reality is inventory is low right now until the first of the year. Take advantage of serious buyers. And guess when your house looks the best? When it's decorated for the holidays a lot of times, right? It shows very well the house is an emotional buy. And so their emotion connections there. Reach out to me for sure.
All right. A lot of great tips, and obviously a lot of great opportunity for you to get your wagon hitched to the right guy, which would be Blake Sloan. Give him a call at 843-808 sold, 843-808 sold. You can go online to blakesloan.com, blakesloan.com to find out anything about what you've been hearing today, or if you have any questions about your home, your condo, wherever you're living, or if you're looking to live down here, he's the guy to talk to. Blake, great stuff. Talk to you again next week.
Yes, sir. I'll be here.
All right. It is the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaBox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts. When I'm Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year, it struck a chord with folks.